When I was younger, I had a dream of being the youngest author alive. In fact, I used to write the silliest stories. Things like Fairy X talking to Fairy Y. But now that I'm older, instead of writing a book, I think it's finally time to make my first ever TV show. And of course I'm gonna bring y'all along the ride. Because oftentimes we believe that we can't do things because we don't have X, Y, and Z. But is it true that we lack the resources, or do we just lack the courage to start? So today, even though I came out of my mama's room last night, aka I know absolutely nothing, I'm gonna be showing y'all the first part of making this TV show by talking about vision, figuring out who your audience is, developing your team, and one last little secret. But before getting started, I always love to pray because I believe art and creativity is intertwined with spirituality. So whether or not you believe in God, I pray that as you watch this, you find new inspiration for your new creative project. May God give you the creativity you need to create. I pray that the lies you've been believing about yourself not being good enough go to El Basura, aka the trash, exactly where it belongs. And that you pick up your pen and create what you've been wanting to create all along. And may you use your gifts, stories, and creativity within you to spread more love, light, and joy in this very, very dark world. Now that I've prayed, without further ado, let's get started, my friends. So when first starting to make a show, I'm first thinking about what is my vision and the goal that I have in mind. And for me, I'm making a show called White and White Wakanda. Abort. First, most important thing is figuring out what is the vision. And for me, I'm making a show, or pilot episode, so that's maybe the first and or last one, of something called Black and White Wakanda. So when I think about vision, I like to create something called mood boards, vision boards, something like, I don't know if that's really what it's called, but like something like that, where I basically pull images from shows that are good examples to really help me feel inspired. So for this to make sense, let me give y'all an explanation about why I'm doing this show and the context behind it. So basically, when I moved to Minnesota, culture shock. I have a whole video where I talk all about that, y'all. I still be culture shocked, okay? It's a lot. So then basically when I went to a protest and the lady said, oh, Minnesota is white Wakanda, I was like, oh, I love that phrase. Basically, she was saying that somebody said, oh, Minnesota is white Wakanda because of the really bad inequities in this state. When I heard that quote, I said, wow, I'm gonna start calling Minnesota white Wakanda because that is what it's giving, okay? So I basically started this really funny, unserious series on my Instagram stories where I would be like, a day in the life of a black girl in white Wakanda, okay? I'm returning back to Black White Wakanda, because y'all, I don't even like saying that I live here, honestly, because let me stop. Basically, I always go back and forth between like Minnesota and New York, so that's why I'm like, yeah, I live in both places. That's what I like to say. But basically, what was I saying? Basically, I started this really unserious series on my Instagram stories, like, they love Black girl, white Wakanda, I'm going back to Wakanda. It was a whole thing, right? It was just comedic. But then I thought a little bit more and I realized, you know what? White Wakanda ain't just Minnesota, okay? White Wakanda could be work. It could be school. There's so many white Wakandas that so many of us experience. It could be really anything we make it out to be. You know, any type of predominantly white space where we be feeling uncomfy a little bit, you know? Basically, I was thinking, you know, the world it's a rough place right now. I feel like we all need a little more joy in our lives. We need a little more laughter. So why not make a comedic mockumentary type of thing? So when I thought about this, the shows that immediately came to my mind was Insecure, of course, and then The Office, and something else that's coming to mind is Dear White People. So basically what I like to do is going on Pinterest, going on Google Images, kind of pulling different images from these shows, putting it on a Canva board so I have kind of an image of a vision about what I'm trying to go for, when I'm trying to explain this to people, and I try to look at, you know, color palettes that maybe I'm looking for, or shots that maybe I would like, or angles, or maybe even vibes, you know, because when I did the film Our Crowns of Art, which is basically about black girl natural hair, I was thinking more of a 90s type of style. So I want to just play around with Pinterest, Google Images, kind of see what type of vision I'm trying to go for, and then I'll circle back with y'all for the next step.
Clouds at the horizon, colors of the trees of late September, glistening snow, a morning in December, like the sunbeams after rain has fallen, the stillness when the storm has stopped us roaring, the silver moon and stars above the ocean, the words of love that fill you with emotion. Così bella, that's how beautiful you are. Coffee, Bella, and on Cape you say to.
Second thing is figuring out audience. Who is this for? Who are you trying to specifically speak to? And one thing that I'm trying to really challenge myself, y'all, is being as specific as possible. Because when you have the audience in mind and that's very clear, it makes the vision also more clear. So for me, I feel like the audience is Black women who be in white spaces, who just be seeing stuff and hearing stuff that just be wow, okay? And you just need a good old laugh. That is who it is for, and that's what I'm gonna have in mind as I'm making the script, making the next steps in the next process. So I want to write this down in my Notion, and then I'm going to go on to the next step.
You got me overthinking. You got me overthinking. Yeah. You got me overthinking. You got me overthinking. You got me overthinking. You got me overthinking.
Third thing is developing a team with whatever resources that you got. So I think I'm working a little bit backwards. Usually I think you would make a script and then you'd find your team after that. But because of my limited resources, y'all, I'm working a little bit backwards. I want to figure out who I can have on the team to figure out then what I can do in my scripts too. So my biggest thing is that, yes, I could do all the cinematography on my own, on BTS shots, but there's people that I want to reach out to who I feel like would be a great addition, and that'll help me figure out when I should do the set, the shooting date and everything like that. And I'm working a little bit all over the place. But one thing is, that's my biggest piece of advice, y'all, is that if you do not have resources, use the internet to ask people for help. Like, use Threads, use TikTok, use Instagram, find people through those sources too. But also, don't stress yourself out. You don't need a huge team. You only need like a few people, Like for me in this project, my biggest barrier and challenge, honestly, would probably be finding white people to cast because I'm not gonna lie with you, I mainly hang out with Black people in my free time. So yeah, I just was reflecting and I'm like, I have a lot of Black actors and actresses I can think of, but when it comes to white people, I don't know nobody. So I did something really funny yesterday. I asked somebody across the room, I said, hey, insert person's name, do you know any white people who act? He looked at me like, girl, what? I said, but he said yes, right? He said yes. So I said, yeah, I'm gonna text you. Like, it was super sporadic. So I gotta now text all these people, follow up with them, give them voice memos to explain why I'm reaching out to them, and then I'll follow back with y'all about some next steps. Okay, let me go do that. Y'all keeping me accountable, and I love that for me. Hey, hope you're doing good. Okay, so let me give some context about why I just asked you that really random question. So basically, I'm working at, I have like one people now to kind of get that spot, one of the first days to be interested in participating in. I plan on it being a one-day shoot, probably one episode. I was wondering if you'd be down to do videography. I told you this. I told you this. I'm trying to make this TV show pilot. I'm trying to get. But basically, I'm trying to do this like TV show pilot first and last out. And I was thinking about. Okay, wait. This is content. Basically, the show is called Black White. I was thinking though, and I was like, oh my gosh, have you looked at BTS photographer and your sister's photography? And I was wondering if I forgot your name. So I was wondering if would you be interested in her if you could share your number with me? And this voice memo was way too long for a question that's like 2 seconds long. But okay. We're done it. We're done. Wow, this is so great. Y'all keep me accountable though, for real, because I was gonna keep postponing doing that. But look, it's done. Okay. Y'all, this is maybe the most important tip. You can be different, bro. You don't gotta create what somebody else has created in that same way. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I know we created the vision board, y'all. I know we did the mood board. We've looked at inspiration, but that don't mean that we have to create what they created in that specific way. And maybe I'm the only one who'd be struggling with this, okay? But sometimes I will try to create something and I'll think of something and I'm like, nah, I can't do that. I can't do that because it ain't ever been done before. But isn't that the whole purpose of art, to create something new out of nothing? Like, I just think it's funny that I get tripped up with that quite often. I'll be like, oh, I can't do that because it has never been done. That don't make no sense. And at the end of the day, we're all inspired by different things, but we are also creating new iterations of old things in a lot of ways, if we're really honest with ourselves. So basically, this is my reminder to tell you to please just go out and just let yourself be free. Okay? Don't let yourself be confined by what has already been created in the past. Create something new, create something different, and give yourself permission to stand out in a different way. And this is what I have to tell myself as I'm creating this process. But I plan on in the future talking more about how I'm thinking about creating the script, locations, things like that, because pre-production is a big part of the filming process. And I feel like it can be kind of underrated at times, but it's probably one of the most important parts of it. And I plan on talking more about production, post-production, and things like that, because I want to take y'all along this journey, because I just feel like there's a lot of gatekeep information. We don't gatekeep around here. We don't gatekeep around here. I'm trying to give you the resources that I wish I've had so that you don't be struggling the way I've been struggling. Okay. So cheers to creating this TV show pilot, friends. And I guess I'll see y'all another day. But for now, don't forget, y'all, to create like a kid and practice like a pro. Okay, I'll see y'all later. Bye.